How do you prepare your car for a track day? So this video is going to be depends a lot on what car that you're going to take to the track. Is it already a performance car that needs very little mods? Or is it just a bog standard automatic Toyota Corolla that you're just going to go on the track because you think it's funny? And it would be pretty funny, to be honest. So this is going to be a generalized list for the average car that's probably not a race car, which is probably going to be your daily driver that you want to take to the track every so often. So with that in mind, the first thing that you need to do is brakes. The first thing that always falls apart, always the first thing to fail, is always the brakes. Because if you think about it, most road cars, the actual brake pads are designed to work in all conditions. So when it's freezing cold and on hot summer days, but they aren't designed to cope with abuse generally. So whereas race car brakes, they generally don't really work really at all, or at the very least very well when they're cold. And that's because they're operating at a different heat range to road car brakes, which have got a much wider range of variables that they have to operate in. So what you should do is always upgrade the brake pads to, at the very least, a street performance pad. Ideally a race pad, but if it's going to be your daily driver, this can sometimes be not the best compromise. Compared to going with full ceramic pads, there'll be quite a few with full ceramic track pads. They'll generally squeal like crazy, especially when cold, and they won't really work. And it kind of sounds a little bit embarrassing when you're pulling up to work or whatever, and your car sounds like it's about to fall apart. But I mean, that's only if you care about that sort of stuff. I mean, if you have squeaky brakes, like, it's a bit of a flex in my mind, but a lot of people don't understand what squeaky brakes means. The next thing that you'll need to do in regards to your brakes is high temperature brake fluid. That's got a higher boiling point. It's very easy to boil standard brake fluid, especially brake fluid that hasn't been changed on a regular basis. So you should always go for some upgraded brake fluid. So that's step one. I'm doing this list in order of priority. So the second thing that you'll need to modify is definitely tires. Road car tires, it's the same sort of deal with road car brake pads. They're designed to work in a whole host of different environments, going from cold weather, hot days, rain, sun. Like, there's a much wider range of conditions that they need to work in compared to if you're on a track. And so road car tires have got a much lower operating temperature from which they're actually effective compared to track tires, because track tires, there's a bee somewhere. All right, it's time to go. Track tires operate at a much higher temperature and they don't drop off in terms of grip when they are overheated in the same way that road car tires do. So just get yourself a set of, at the very least, street performance tires, like a 200 tread wear all season or summer tire, and that'll probably do you quite nicely for the occasional track day, and you can still drive it on the road. If you want to go kind of hardcore, you should try and get a set of different rims, ideally stock rims, because they're quite strong, and then put dedicated track tires on those, and then you can just swap the tires in and out whenever you want to go on the track. The third thing that most people come undone on when preparing your car for the track is cooling. So either coolant or oil temps get too hot, and this can either put the car into limp mode. At the very least, it's not really ideal for it. So at the very least, you should data log the temperatures when you're on the track and see what they get up to. If the car already has a large radiator and like a auxiliary oil cooler, then there's a good chance that you might be okay. But a car like this, the M135i, it's got the same radiator as the M2, and it does have an engine oil cooler and trans cooler, but it's not perfect. So you can do this mod with a thermostat where it lowers the operating temperature of both, so it gives you a little bit more time on track. So a 15-minute track day should be fine. So yeah, cooling. Summary of this: data log the temperatures before you go out for a session and during the session, and see what they get up to, and see if this is something that you need to look out for. But on most cars, this is definitely an area that needs attention. Fourth would be suspension. In terms of suspension, what I like to do is generally leave the springs and the shocks alone, and then just fit an upgraded sway bar. The upgraded sway bar, it helps to reduce body roll, and you still have a pretty compliant ride as well. So, and often if your car's fitted with electronic dampers, it doesn't interfere with this, yet it still has its advantages. You can also go with a set of aftermarket coilovers with camber adjustable strut tops. The camber adjustable strut tops are really helpful, so you can set up your car specifically with a track alignment, but This is just something else to think about. And lastly, this could arguably be the most important point, but this is driver tuition and or education. So going out on the track with a car that's prepped for the track is great, but if you have no idea, there's a good chance you might either hurt yourself, the car, or someone else. You're inherently a risk to other people. So investing in some driver coaching is a crucial step in all of this. Most of the big tracks always offer some sort of driver coaching, whether it's you rent one of their cars and then you go out for a few laps and they give you some pointers and some tips and tricks, or you can hire a coach and then they go in your car and just see what areas that you need to work on. Hope you enjoyed this quick little video, and I'll see you in a couple days.